Welcome to the Business Value Exchange. My name is Helen Beckett. I'm the Community Manager and have with me today Professor Gerd Kortuem, who is Professor of Computing at the Open University and whose special interest is sustainability and ubiquitous computing. Hello, Gerd.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. So very delighted that you're with us today and you're going to talk about the Internet of Things. I think a sensible starting point would be for you to give us a definition of the Internet of Things.
Yes, I mean, the Internet of Things is one of the big hype words currently. It is in some way an extension of the Internet, the Internet which we all know. But it's an extension towards the physical world. So the Internet of Things is about connecting physical objects, cars, buildings, and fridges, and so on, to the internet to control these devices and to understand much more about how they're being used and operated. The Internet of Things doesn't really it's not a coherent infrastructure yet. It's emerging. So depending on who you ask, you get a different opinion.
Okay, but I understand from that the critical thing is the collision of the virtual world and a physical world, and that opens up a whole new ball game. And also it
Yes.
calls for a rethink about the education of the traditional role of computer scientists, I guess, and also citizens, consumers. Can you just
Yeah.
take us through that piece?
Yeah. Traditional computer science education has been relatively narrowly focused on the type of computers which we understand.
Mm.
Um, Now the computing is merging with the physical world, and it has different kinds of applications and different computing models emerge. And computer scientists need to be aware of the new opportunities and the new applications in energy, transport, and in urban space. And so we need to open up the viewpoint of students and help them understand also the implications of the technology in these new spaces. On the for the general society, for citizens, it becomes important to understand the role of computing in all sorts of society, in urban public spaces, in the operation of transportation and energy, because the touch points between these digital technologies, the Internet of Things, and citizens are multiplying. And so it just requires us as citizens to have a good understanding of the complexity and the potential pitfalls of moving digital technology into these spaces.
So you talk about the increasing touch points between computers, devices, and society, and also moving on from that, the changing role from consumers becoming producers, shaping those applications. Could you talk us through some applications? I know you have some interesting thoughts about energy production, for example.
Yes, I mean, we're certainly moving towards a sharing economy. Already with the internet, if we are using social networks like Facebook and Twitter, we're consumers of
Mm.
content, as opposed to consumers of content when we're watching TV. And this is happening now in the space of energy and mobility to some extent as well. In our homes, we can produce an increasing amount of energy using solar panels and heat pumps. And this kind of energy we can use locally, but we can share the surplus of this energy with the rest of the grid, with the rest of a city and society. And so we're becoming part of a peer-to-peer network where we consume and share and produce energy and to some extent mobility as well. And this creates different attitudes, using my own energy, sharing parts of my energy with my neighbors, for example. It
Mhm.
creates a different attitude and changes certainly behavior.
So that's a fascinating snapshot of a huge, broad discussion there about the Internet of Things, all it will bring, including a sharing economy and a new mindset that is required of everyone. So many thanks, Professor Gerd Kortuem, for your time today.
You're welcome.